After years of fine-tuning my weeb credentials, I finally took the plunge to the Japans for a trip that I've been wanting to go on for a long time, and only thanks to my community have I been able to actually make this trip a possibility. So first of all, I want to thank you, viewers, for supporting my content and my work that has allowed me to do this. Like any good adventure, I had a lot of expectations going into this. Bright lights, big city, good food, konbini, and of course, trains. I didn't expect this to change me the way it did, or that my expectations would be exceeded the way that they were.
Stay with me, my huracano,
From the moment that we landed in Narita Airport, we were met with our first challenge, trying to navigate the vast network of Japanese transportation. But I am a seasoned train enjoyer, so I knew that we would be taking the Keisei Skyliner on our way into Tokyo, which was actually pretty cool because, as you'll see, there's parts in between each car where there's a vending machine and you can walk about the train and go grab yourself a coffee while you're watching the countryside. Having no public transportation in my area, or generally speaking in America, having no trains generally speaking in the US, or sparse access to public transportation, I knew that this was going to be a challenge, and I would have to rely on Wifeloe and all of my lessons that I got from Lotoglots in order to master this. And we got lost many times. But we did manage to make it to our first scheduled event, which was Team Labs Tokyo, an immersive art gallery where stepping into every new display felt like walking into a sensory overload simulator. The lights, the colors, the sounds, the atmosphere, everything about this place I was woefully unprepared for, and I'll just let the footage kind of speak for itself. Our third day was specifically for Wifeloe. It was a day catered just for her, and what kind of convinced me to actually have her come along on this trip, Tokyo Disneyland. Besides 2 rides being out of order for updates, it wasn't that bad. I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I did fall into a hypnotic stupor that felt like I was cast into a void of pain and misery during the Small World ride that can only be described as black site worthy. It wasn't too bad. We did get some cool food and got to see some cool sights, and Wifeloe enjoyed it, so kudos to chat for giving her that. We checked out Haunted Mansion and some other unique parts of the park, and all in all, I'm glad that Wifeloe was able to get something special just for her out of the trip, even if I'm not the biggest fan of amusement parks or Disneyland in particular. It was kind of cool just letting her run around and have fun for the day. But I stopped to ask myself, Grim, what would a young Gremloe think about you finally going to Japan without this involving Pokemon? We walked all the way across Asakusa and up to Tokyo Skytree. Navigating Tokyo Skytree was an interesting adventure in and of itself, and I did finally get to show off my mastery of the Japanese language by asking for directions.
すみません、ポケモンセンターはどこですか？
建物です。
Oh, 右割り？ありがとうございます。Did you hear that? Were you impressed? Were you impressed? Say it. Yes. Yes, you were. Of course you were. How could you not be?
Yeah, that's why I'm the one having to get us around on the trains.
And although I wasn't able to film inside of the Pokemon Center, I did get some footage outside because there was so many parents and children in there. And I got to see the Kirby Cafe, and it was reservation only, so we weren't able to actually get Kirby burgers, but there was an event going on outside, so we were able to get a little snack there before we decided that what Pokemon adventure is complete without a hearty meal afterwards. So we hopped on a train to Ikebukuro over to Namja Gyoza Stadium. Was kind of a Japanese version of Chuck E. Cheese, and it was ninja weekend, so it was Naruto everything. If there was an anime character who was a ninja, they were there. But in the back of this building, there was this display of retro Japanese old town with a bunch of gyoza vendors. Some of them award-winning and some of them unknown. So Wifeloe and I decided to check it out and get a little lunch, and it was kind of nice just to sit down and experience something different that wasn't all spectacle. Just to be able to spend time with Wifeloe and get some delicious gyoza, which our favorite was actually this one that was a pork-crusted gyoza, which was actually pretty good. I've never really had a gyoza like that one. Prop newspapers and a set that's made to look like traditional Japanese town. I kind of realized something. At this point in the trip, I had yet to really challenge myself. I had yet to put myself in a scenario that would force me out of my comfort zone other than big crowds. Walking down the streets is cool, get to see all this interesting stuff, but I had not immersed myself in something quintessentially of this region. And it just so happened that that night I met up with a community member on stream and went to Ebisu for some manja, which was really good, and I got to practice a little bit of Japanese there, but I wanted to have no assistance. It just so happened that as I was walking to the train station to go to Ebisu, I walked by this little sushi restaurant, and they were closed, so I took one of their cards that was on a table and decided next night I was going to go there, and I don't think anything could have prepared me for that adventure. As I walked into the restaurant, I was the only person, which was perfect. What's a 325-day streak on Duolingo and all these lessons with Lotoglots, who you should definitely go follow for language learning content? What was it worth? Not for this very moment. So I sat down, learned that this was an omakase, where the chef makes each individual dish for you right in front of you one at a time. And this experience was so transcendent for me. What was supposed to be an hour-long display of fine cuisine turned into an experience I don't think I'll ever forget. I got to learn that the chef was a big fan of jazz, and I asked him to play whatever he listens to whenever he's cooking at home. Learned that his daughter was going to school to study to be a YouTube content creator, which I didn't know was a thing. It taught me something that I heard Anthony Bourdain say once, that food is the universal language, which was never more true than in a moment like this. The chef even showed me these bamboo leaf arts that he was making. He would carve Mount Fuji into it. It's incredible. But towards the end of the dinner, his daughter walks up to me as I'm preparing to, depart. And she hands me something that I will keep with me forever. She hands me this little piece of cloth and says, "This is a gift for you." And on it is the name of their restaurant. And I thought, well, I'm not supposed to accept these kinds of things. Or at least you're supposed to say, no, that's too much at first. At least that's what I heard. I don't know if that's an actual thing. I'm trying to be culturally sensitive here. But I open it and I see this symbol. I ask them, what does this mean? What is this symbol for? The chef told me that this is the symbol for isaribi, which is the type of fishing that his dad and his family would do. They would hang torches over water, and that's how they would attract the fish. I told him, well, we do something similar too. I remember as a kid, we would go out to the Gulf on Grand Isle, and we would shine spotlights onto the water and spear for flounder that way. And he thought that was so cool. Just the shared history, that shared upbringing. It was an experience that I will never forget, but most importantly, that really changed how I view travel, how I view learning about other cultures. I remember seeing a discussion on culture and how when you're traveling somewhere, you're supposed to make accommodations for the people in the area that you're traveling to. There's an idea that when someone's traveling to your area, you should make every accommodation for them. But that mutes, it dulls what that person is there to experience. So it's the traveler that has to make those accommodations. And even though I was a bumbling gaijin during this experience, trying my best to speak to them, I don't think that effort was lost on them. Then they realized I was making an effort. At least I hope. At the end of the experience, they all walked out with me, and the chef's wife, who was quiet for most of the evening, said this is a traditional send-off where she sparked stone and flint over my right shoulder. It's supposed to, offer good luck and safe travels. And I remember one thing I kept being told was when you say goodbye to someone, you don't say sayonara, sayonara. You say matane or jamate, which is like a see you next time, see you later. It's not permanent. We'll see you again. This is not the last time we'll see each other. And as I'm walking down the street, I see them as I turn back a block, 2 blocks later. I see them still standing out in front of the restaurant, waving goodbye, which I had heard was a thing. Shocked by every experience I had, from walking down the streets to sitting on the river. Everything that I saw, did, I never felt unwelcome. I never felt like I was trespassing. I always felt like people were happy to see that there was somebody in their town, because we stayed in Ueno, not Shinjuku or Shibuya. We stayed in a more residential area. So it felt like I was in someone's neighborhood, like I was a guest. I felt very welcome. Of all the experiences between team labs or going to the zoo and seeing all of these cool animals, the parks, it was small moments of sitting down at a family mart, having a boss coffee, and having another Fami Chiki, my fifth of the day. It's those opportunities for a quiet moment. Even if that quiet moment is in a busy train station, there's still a moment to sit down or stand by a vending machine, grab yourself something to drink, and just soak it all in for a second. Even in rural America, I don't feel that quiet moment. There's a lot of stress, a lot of expectations. And maybe that's just because I was a tourist, but I long for the day when I can go back to that family mart, sit at the counter, have a coffee, have a little chicken, and just watch people out the window. So this is the first video on the Patreon, and I hope you enjoyed it. This will be going up on the YouTube channel shortly after it goes up on Patreon. If you'd like to support my work, you can subscribe here, subscribe either for $3 or just follow for free on the Patreon. But you can catch me live every day on twitch.tv/Gremloe, where I'm covering news and politics and thinking about the next travel plans, which may be coming up soon. Either way. But if you enjoyed this, I'm Austin Gremloe McNamara. I'll see you next time.